Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Miracle Mindset Monday for this week. So remember, with our Miracle Mindset Monday, it is a generalized reading for the week. There are no personalized readings. If you're interested in your own personalized reading, you're more than welcome to go visit myawakeningmiracles.org and you can find more information about it there. So when it comes to our Miracle Mindset Monday for this week, we have, good morning everyone, we have two beautiful messages. Good morning, Miss Thina, so nice to see you. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So our first message that we have for this week is don't be defined by old stories. This week, you may have some old stories coming up about what you think about yourself, what you think about finances, what you think about your relationships. And what we're asked to do this week is, yes, we acknowledge the story and we process it. Now, how do we process a story? It's really easy to process a story because all you have to do is ask a few simple questions. And of course, I want to give you those questions. Good morning, Shirley. So the questions that you can begin to ask yourself as you process this story is, as it comes up, is this coming from the past? Is this coming from the future? Okay, so we ask basically the time frame. Where is this story coming from? Then we ask, what has triggered this story? What in my current situation am I seeing a correlation with, either from the past or in the future? And then we ask the most vital question. Do I believe this is true? All you have to ask, do I believe that this is still true? And that's it. And then you can go to the releasing, which is the forgiveness. And with forgiveness, you can use tapping, you can just use, writing yourself a letter, writing yourself a note, burning it, ripping it. I mean, there are so many different ways in which to release a story. But you have to realize that that's what we've done with a good majority of our lives, is we've written stories. They're not necessarily true, but we believe that they are. And since we believe that they are, we see the evidence of those stories, because we always have the ability to choose which messenger we're going to send out. We either send out a messenger of love or a messenger of fear. And whenever we send out a messenger of one or the other, good morning, Carol. If we send out a messenger of love, we're going to see beautiful, loving messages. That's what we're going to see back. We're going to see beautiful love and happiness and joy. But if we send out messages of fear, we're going to see guilt, blame, shame. So it's whichever messenger you're choosing is the messages you are going to see. So let's choose love instead. Let's be willing to choose that. And that's all it really takes, is a willingness. Good morning, Robin. That's really all it takes, is that willingness to do so. Nothing more than that. It's a willingness to look at the story. Where is the story coming from, past or future? Okay, so we know that. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from the past or is it coming from the future? Okay, then we can look from there as we still continue to process it, because first we have to acknowledge it's a story. Okay, that's what we first have to acknowledge. Then we move to that processing by, okay, where is it coming from, past or future? Then, as we continue on with the rest of the process, then it's like, okay, well, is this story true? Well, or we look at the situation in your current life that's reminding you of the past, or saying, oh my gosh, this is the future. And then we say, okay, but is that true? We have to ask the question. If you don't ask the question, how are you going to know it's true? Because you're just going based on what the story in your mind is telling you. You can even go one step further. Who's telling me this story? Because spirit can always tell you the loving story. And ego will always tell you the fearful story, always tell you the worst case scenario story. And you can ask, do I really want that? Do I want to hear the worst case scenario story? No, I don't. I choose instead, I acknowledge the story, I acknowledge the storyteller, but I'm releasing that because I don't want that. Okay? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So that's our first message. Our second message is about gratitude and just really being in gratitude. Now, I want to elevate this gratitude. It's not so much just saying, oh, I'm grateful for, power in my house. I'm grateful for, indoor plumbing. I'm grateful for air conditioning. Those are wonderful things to be grateful for. But let's step up our gratitude. I am so grateful that I am the eternal, that I am eternal. I'm so grateful that the divine just pours down compassion and mercy upon me. I'm so grateful that the divine has already given me everything. I'm so grateful, and really just stepping it up. Instead of just saying physical, let's go with the non-physical as well. I'm so grateful that I was created lovingly. I'm so grateful that kindness created me kind. I'm so grateful that patience created me patient, and just really going with that, going to that deeper level. And I'll tell you, it's actually a Course in Miracles lesson that we practiced. And it was lesson 124. And so this is a lesson we practiced yesterday. And let me tell you, actually it was 123, I'm sorry. But let me tell you, I practiced it. I did it that way. And I had the most amazing experiences as I was saying these things, just telling the divine how grateful I was for all the, the love, the joy, the happiness. And I had a friend send me a video that was the gratitude song, and then just telling me, grateful for your friendship. I had a client from a year ago come back to me and tell me how grateful they were for the time that we spent together. Then I had another client from 2 years ago tell me how grateful they were for the time we spent together. Then I got a letter in the mail from another client telling me how grateful they were. And I thought, oh my gosh, because I'm expressing my gratitude to the divine, it's expressing its gratitude back to me, but 100,000 times fold. Okay? So that's why I really want to invite you this week. Number one, yes, look at your stories. Look at the old stories that are coming up that you're telling yourself and ask yourself if they're true. Then, as well, be willing to be in that sense of gratitude that you don't have to live that story because you were created in free will. You were created free. You were created to choose, and we all have the ability to choose again, to let spirit write the story instead of your little personality self writing the story. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to the frequency tarot, and let's see what frequency that we are going to begin to embody this week. Oh goodness, okay, we're going to embody all the frequencies. All right, so let's see here. What frequency are we going to embody for this week? Let's see what beautiful cards we have. Well, our first frequency is that confidence. We are going to step in and we have the ability to choose and confidently choose to look at the story and say, you know what? Is this true or not? And as we look at that story, we're going to see that beautiful change, okay? And the reason that we're going to see change isn't because, anything really super special. The only reason that we're going to see the change is because we're going to say, I don't want that story anymore. We're going to be grateful for, for all of our beautiful blessings. As we step into that gratitude, we're really going to have the heart chakra open because we're going to be looking at the story not so much from here, okay, from the logical standpoint. we're going to be looking at it from the standpoint of compassion, from the standpoint of love, from the standpoint of the observer. That's where we need to look at our stories from, because otherwise we're going to get trapped in them again. We don't want to get trapped in them again. We want to look at them lovingly, calmly, joyfully. As we then look at those, we're going to have that positive focus. Now, the positive focus, a lot of people may be like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, we know, focus on the positive. But when it says positive focus, what I like to say about that is that it's not just simply focusing only on the positive and that's it. It's about recognizing, yes, I see what's going on. I acknowledge it. But as I acknowledge what's going on, I can either choose, once again, very powerful word, I can choose where I'm going to put my focus. Am I going to focus on the problem, or am I going to focus on the solution? And that's really what I think this card tells us, is we can either focus on the past, focus on the future, or we can focus on the present now, okay? As we focus on that present now, we're going to see that ability to play. We're going to be a little more joyful, a little bit more playful. Because think about it, any story, yes, stories can be very terrifying. Stories can be very sad. But you have the ability to play with the story, okay? You have the ability to play with it. Not just be a part of it. You are the creator of the story. You're the maker of the story. And you can either choose to continue making the same story over and over and over again, or you can choose to play with it a little bit and say, you know what? I've written enough of this story. Let's see what Spirit has to say about, this beautiful story, which leads us to that sense of surrender. Okay? And I actually have my in-person workshop on, my live Zoom workshop, June the 13th from 1 to 4, talking all about the beautiful power of surrender. And you can find out more information about that on my website, awakeningmiracles.org. So as we surrender our stories over to Spirit, we really get this beautiful sense of excitement. Because it's like, oh my gosh, Spirit's going to start writing me a new story, and Spirit has nothing but my best interest at heart. And so since it has nothing but my best interest at heart, I can get really excited because I'm going to start to see something new. And I can be comforted in the knowledge that Spirit only wants the best for me. That's all it ever wants. And so as we, see that, okay, sorry about that. But as we begin to see that, like the beautiful way in which Spirit can work through us if we allow it, that's really what this whole spread was about, First one, look at the story. As we look at the story and, we do our processing, we can really change the story. We change the story by, of course, being in gratitude, being grateful that Spirit's going to come, and Spirit's going to help us look at the story from the observer perspective, from that heart chakra. And, we're going to begin to focus on the positive, focus on the here, focus on the now. As we do that, we have the ability to move into that childlike wonder, that play. I don't know what Spirit's going to write for me, but I'm really excited to see. Surrender it over. As we surrender, that sense of excitement comes in. As that sense of excitement comes in, it's that sense of comfort as well. So that's the frequency story that we've just told. Now let's go to the Oracle of the Angels, and let's see what kind of affirmation we can have for, this week. Okay, well, we are just going to have all the cards there. Okay, 1, 2, and let's have, okay, so we have 3 here. Beautiful, but I would like one more, please. One more, please. Beautiful. Okay, so let's look at this beautiful story, shall we? So our first card is Heaven's Door, okay? So heaven's door, and this is from the Oracle of the Angels. And when I look at heaven's door, there's of course a beautiful affirmation that goes with it, but when I look at heaven's door, it really tells me, it says the door to happiness, the door to peace, the door to salvation, if you will, is always open. Okay, it's always open. However, we tend not to look at that door because we're afraid of what happiness really looks like. And I know that sounds insane, I know that sounds crazy, but we're actually afraid of being happy for an extended period of time. We're actually afraid to walk through the door of heaven because we don't believe that we're worthy of that happiness, of that joy on a consistent basis. But as we walk through that door, we begin to see the beautiful, eternal light of love. Okay, and actually, I just want to read directly that affirmation of card number 25 because it's one of the most beautiful I've ever read. I trust in the eternal light of love, which stems from my soul and the heart of all creation. I trust in the eternal light and love within every situation I find myself in. I trust in the divine light. Okay? So then, as we trust in that divine light, we begin to have higher thoughts. Higher thoughts. So if we are willing to walk through the door of heaven to find that inner peace, because heaven is not a place out here, it's not even a place up there. Heaven is a place within. It is the truth of who you are. It is the truth of where you are at all times. And it's that eternal light of love. And as we enter into that in ourselves, once again, telling us, look at the story you're telling yourself about yourself. In the Course in Miracles, there's a beautiful line. And it says, you have taught yourself what you are, but you have yet to let what you are teach you. And of course we haven't let it teach us because we've been telling ourselves these crazy stories all along. And with the full moon coming up in Scorpio, on the 7th, we are beginning to have the portal open for us to look upon those stories and say, do I want this? Okay? And so that leads us into that higher thought. So let's go ahead and read affirmation number 10. With my will to work in the light, I lift my thoughts to God and to the beauty and simplicity everywhere around me. I accept, I let go, and I welcome the opportunity to discover the positive side of every situation. And then as we do that, we see card number 28, Angel Whispers. Angel Whispers, card number 28. So of course, as we tune in, so as we tune in to heaven, we begin to have our angels really speaking to us. And they speak to us because we have entered in to the truth. We've entered into, the kingdom, if you will. And it says, I move my awareness within. Oh my God, you can't make this up. Within and discover the entire universe. My angels lovingly guide me. The universe is full of timeless wisdom. I am loved and I choose love. So once again, this beautiful story that we're told is that, the door to heaven is always within us. We must take that look inside. As we take that look inside, we trust our inner being. We trust our inner being to raise our thoughts to the divine. As it raises our thoughts to the divine, we start to hear the divine thoughts. That inner, innate, beautiful wisdom. And so then we're just going to go to the Sonia Choquette Ask Your Guides deck. And we're actually just going to ask for one card and just see what guide is going to help us with all of this beautiful work this week. This is just going to be so beautiful. So we have we're actually going to do two guides. Two guides have really stepped forward. And our first guide is the joy guide, getting us out of our head. How beautiful is that? Where did all the stories come from? They come from, right here. That's where the stories come from. So absolutely beautiful. It's saying get out of your head. Get out of that restriction. That's beautiful that your guides speak to you all the time. And then as we do that, we can ask our higher self to help us make the decision if we want to choose the old story or if we're willing to let Spirit, the higher self, write us a brand new one. If we're really willing to move into that. And so you see me, people will, I'm sure, ask, why are you putting your hand over your chest? Why are you breathing in and just closing your eyes? And that's really just so I can speak from the heart. Because like our other card said, that's where we want to come from. So I want to make sure that those messages come directly from love. And so I will close my eyes and I will just breathe deep. And I'll just keep my hand on my chest, right there in the middle, right there on that heart chakra. And I'll just speak. And because that way I'm speaking from love. Because that's how I want all the messages to be relayed, from a place of love, joy, and compassion. So this week we have such beautiful guidance from all of our different decks. And each one has told us an aspect of the story. The Frequency Tarot told us all about the frequencies we must embody to begin the process of our previous messages from the beginning. Then we had the the Oracle of the Angels come in and give us those affirmations that can assist us. And then we had our guides, what guides are helping us. So ask this week, joy guides. I'm ready for a gift. Joy guides, make me laugh today. Joy guides, help me get out of my head. And or higher self. Do I really want to continue to believe this story? Is this story even true? Will you show me the truth? Will you help me to decide? So just absolutely beautiful messages for this week. And once again, this is just an overall reading for the week. If you are interested in either my online workshop that I will be giving June the 13th, you can find out information on that over at my website, awakeningmiracles.org. It is the power of surrender. And if you are interested in your own personalized Miracle Mindset Monday, you can also go find that over on awakeningmiracles.org. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I thank you for being grateful, looking at your stories, and really allowing yourself to let Spirit decide. Let Holy Spirit decide. Let your higher self decide if you want to keep those old stories. I love you. I thank you.